G'day friends, welcome to day 28 of Inktober 2017. I want to steal 6 minutes of your time today to do another swatch doll. I feel like if I had $1 for every swatch doll I've done in October, I'd have $4 billion. Look, I'm just not going to apologize at this point. I'm really excited to do them. I still love to do them, so let's just leave it at that. Today I wanted to talk about proportions and why they might be interesting for you to think about, especially if you're still in that place where you're disgruntled, a little put off by trying to find your particular style or a style marker for you. Something that's identifiable with the art that you do, and you want people to recognize that it's yours, all that good stuff that we talk about with identifying a style all the time. I think that it is important to a degree. I feel like if you're just doing art for fun, if you're just doing it to play, to unwind, to relax, to vent, to whatever you're doing your art for is good. And I think people that struggle with style and trying to find one quickly or trying to make it a very important thing to focus on or think about, I think are the people that are trying to maybe turn something into a business opportunity or trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's maybe a motivator for a lot of people, or maybe not. I think for me, it was a very important thing to consider when I turned what was a passion and a hobby into something that was a business. Because, if you're not really, if you're still in that stage where you're copying a lot and then you're trying to turn a profit off of it, obviously you get into that weird area of like IP infringement, copyright infringement. So I think that's where style kind of takes a bit more of a serious turn. Even though I don't think it needs to be that serious. Art should just be fun, and it should just be for you to do and for you to enjoy, and if anyone else enjoys it, that's a bonus. But yeah, let me just talk about style, and if you really are trying to figure out what you're doing or where you're going, let me just say that playing with proportions and playing with the very foundations of how you draw is a really great place to start, and I feel like it kind of unlocks a lot and does a lot of the work for you when you're trying to identify a style. A lot of repetition in your work is important for developing a style, because that's what people start to identify your work with, and you have to be happy with what you're drawing to want to have to draw it over and over and over again. So I think learning the basics, obviously, the 10-head fashion figure, the 8-head regular figure, the foundations of a face, halving the circle, halving it again, putting the eyes and the nose, and all that. All the grid work that we do when we're trying to learn, I think is important, because it gives you a good idea of what you're changing and how you're changing it, and what still connects to what, in the ways that a neck might still connect to a shoulder. But having said that, some of the most famous artists of all time have been completely abstract in the way that they create. So I think that it's not a deal breaker. I don't think you need to worry too much about it, but I want to encourage you to play with some of the proportions. You don't have to do it today. You don't ever have to do it. If you love what you do already, I love that for you. And, it's not about really who likes it. It's about if you like it, and if that's what you want to commit to, and that's what you want to keep doing and repeating over and over and over again for however long you want to do it. I'm not saying that your style has to lock in forever. I kind of feel like that's a bad thing if you're stuck in one place and that's all you're going to do forever. Your style should kind of always ever be evolving with you and what your particular tastes are. So yeah, I think proportions is something that I wanted to talk about, and you can see here I've done the standard swatch doll, but I have really narrowed it down, and I have elongated everything. I've made the neck super long and a little bit curved. I've made the legs really, really long. The arms don't have any kind of features on them. There's no fingers, there's no nothing. But yeah, I've really narrowed them down, made them a lot more lanky and a lot more lean, and that in itself is starting to change your style. So if you compare this to a regular swatch doll, you'd be like, oh, it's a version of, but it's completely different almost. Do you know what I mean? And all I did was just give them a longer neck and longer limbs and bodies. So I think playing with the proportions, especially in faces too. If you feel like you're drawing the same face over and over again and you want to switch that up a bit, take the eyes out further. spread them apart. Take the eyes towards the edge of the head. If you feel like you're, maybe your nose and mouth, maybe you want to bring them closer together and make them smaller. Maybe you want to put them lower towards the chin. Literally taking a cue from your own work, take what you already know how to do and just start shifting things. Maybe a good way to do it is, if you've got a photocopier, take one of your works that you really, really like and just photocopy it in a bunch of different sizes and then cut it up and collage it together and see if you can't identify a way that you might like to start changing it. Maybe photocopying some of the pages and getting larger eyes makes you see that you want to start drawing larger eyes and that would be better for you. Maybe just drawing longer necks, having them a bit more, spindly and a bit more obscure and abstract. Maybe that's a style that you want to go towards as well. Or maybe it's something completely different that you just haven't thought about yet. But I think a lot of it does come back to proportions and how much you're willing to stretch them and bend them. Obviously, if you're doing any kind of realism, this is not great advice for you. But I feel like a lot of art journaling and a lot of what we do as, mixed media artists, I think can be really stretched and pushed if you start playing with the proportions, if you start narrowing things, widening things, taking things further apart, bringing them closer together. Just those simple ideas, I feel like, could really switch up the look of some of your work, and maybe you'll find something that you really, really like and you want to start committing to a little bit more and practicing a little bit more, and you'll find that that's where your style starts to stem from and starts to develop. So even if you're at a place where you really, really love what you're doing, maybe just switch it up just for a second to see if you may love what you're doing, but you might be a little bit bored by it. I think I get into that a little bit. These swatch styles didn't really come about because I was looking to change anything about my style. If anything, they don't really represent a lot of what I've been doing this year, but in the way that I've done these ones, the necks and the wide set eyes and the nose and the lips closer together, those are identifiable traits in some of the works that I do. So I am taking what I already like about my style and I'm just putting it onto these. So I think in that essence, if you start developing like a framework that you like to work with, say mine, wide set eyes, petite features, long giraffe necks, spindly long lanky bodies, limbs, I think adding those to different types of illustrations is what's really going to bring cohesion to your work and make your style a bit more identifiable. So sorry if that was a little bit deep. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. I did say 6 minutes, but I've probably taken 9, so I'm gonna let it end there. Thank you for everything that you've been saying about Halloween. I love the series. I'm so excited that you're excited, and the stamps are back in the store. Don't know when the washi tape will be. It should have been here already, but hopefully, as soon as it comes, I'll put those straight up in the store too. So all pre-orders have shipped by today. The last orders went out today, so everything is good and I'm good. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.